Good evening, everyone. Hopefully you can hear me well out there. We're getting ready for another edition of the Catawba Coaches Show. And I just want to explain again, we have trivia during the show, and you can win a prize pack of Catawba gear or goodies or whatever they have in store for you this week. I will ask the trivia question after the first segment with Coach Haynes. And you have a whiteboard and a marker at your table. Put your answer on your whiteboard and hold it up. And Zach will be paying attention. He's the trivia master here. First correct answer will win the prize pack. So be paying attention for the trivia after Coach Haynes' segment. And we have a good show in store for you. We'll be getting underway in about 5 minutes. So thank you for coming. And hopefully enjoy the show. Enjoy your time here at City Tavern.
Check, check, 1, 2, 3.
Football Coaches Show. I'm your host, Ken Anderson, joined every week by Coach Tyler Haynes, right here at City Tavern at 113 East Fisher Street in historic downtown Salisbury. They have great food here, plenty of beers on tap, specialty drinks, plenty of TVs to watch your favorite team. Thanks to Tina, our bartender, Heather and Drew, the managers here, and the outstanding wait staff here at City Tavern. Tonight we have Haley, Chelsea, Savannah, and Chloe taking care of you all. So be sure to tip them well, and we thank City Tavern for sponsoring our Catawba Football Coaches Show again this season. Also, a couple other shout-outs I'd like to give before we get started to Kevin Lickman, David Kirkland, and Pavel Gabule of the IT department here, getting everything ready for streaming and the audio in-house today. Thanks to Matic Holzhauser, who coordinates everything, gets all the moving parts together for this show. And thanks to Athletic Director Michelle Cadigan for her leadership and alignment of all things Catawba athletics. And, Coach, I know you have some shout-outs you'd like to get out of the way as well.
Oh, yeah, always thankful. I'd like to thank President Nelson and family for their support, the Graham family for sponsoring this show, Michelle Cadigan, the entire athletic department, the Dees family, Maddox, and everyone in the development office. Most importantly, thank you to the friends and family of our program. Continue to support us and tuning in this evening. Team 118 is looking forward to week 2.
Coach, tough loss on the road last week at Davidson. I think first and foremost on a lot of fans' mind is the injury to Bo Pryor. So what is the status there? What can you tell us about Bo Pryor?
Yeah, Bo's obviously a special player, a special person, and he's not going to be available to us the rest of the season. We know that. It was a pretty significant injury, and we knew as soon as it happened that it was significant. So unfortunately, he won't be available to us, but we have a next man up mentality, and Bo and I did have a conversation, and he's planning on coming back for his super senior year, which is exciting. He's got some records to break. We got a bunch of games to win, but unfortunately, this fall is going to be done for Bo.
Now, people are going to look at that score last week and say, wow, what happened to Catawba? But I thought your team competed very well in that ball game against Davidson. It just ended up that the most explosive plays or the most impactful plays of the game all seemed to go their way. They broke 2 long runs. They had 2 long passes, one for a score, one to set up a score. And there were 2 turnovers in the ball game. Both went their way. And, of course, the injury to Bo Pryor just seemed that all the big impact plays went their way.
Yeah, we didn't play well. That was our first game. It was a big atmosphere, opening up the stadium, that kind of stuff, and that's not an excuse. But I expected us to go out there and compete at a very high level. I knew they were good. We all knew they were good. They had shown on film at Georgetown. They had made some mistakes in that game, and that led to their demise in that game. They didn't make very many mistakes against us. They executed at a high level, and credit to their staff and their players. They outplayed us, and they definitely outcoached us. I would love to have another chance at it, but unfortunately you don't get an opportunity to play another team again. So we put that one behind us, and I'm sure we have things we want to talk about, but we're looking forward to week 2, and they got us. On to the next one.
Now, you had to be encouraged by your running game, good performance by your offensive line, and some good runs from L.J. Turner and Queese Williams. So that had to be an encouraging part for you.
Yeah, we were able to do some things on offense. We were able to move the ball. 14 points is not enough in a game like that. We had 2 big penalties, both in the offensive line. One was a hold, one was a face mask that stopped drives for us. I think if we play that team again, we probably put up 28 or 35 points, and all of a sudden it's a little bit different game. But you can't have self-inflicted wounds like that. You can't have penalties as you're driving on first downs. You can't have as many missed assignments. But there were bright spots, even though the score was nowhere near what we wanted it to be. We go out there to win the game. We did not execute at a high level, but there were good things done, one of which was our running game.
And it seemed like Davidson wasn't going to allow you to throw the ball deep. Did their speed surprise you a little bit on defense?
No, they were giving us light boxes, meaning, again, the numbers were in the favor for the run, and that's why the run game worked. Our offense is predicated on numbers. Other thing is when Bo's off the field, you don't have that vertical threat quite as much as you would if he was out there. So, again, I think with him going down and us having some different receivers in some different spots, we took some shots down the field. We didn't win down the field like we wanted to, but they were giving us the run, so we tried to stay true to that as the score kind of got out of hand a little bit. Would have been nice to complete the ball down the field a little bit, yes.
One thing I want to ask you about, in the third quarter, there was a pass completion to Kobe Christian. Just as he caught the ball, he made a turn toward the sideline and got hit real hard. The ball came loose. Fumble was recovered by Davidson. You were able to challenge that call because they're a FCS school. They have ESPN+. You were able to challenge that play. What did you see on that play, and what was the explanation you got from the official?
Well, you're going to be seeing a lot more challenges because in Division II it has passed. So we are allowed to, even in conference games and non-conference games, we're allowed to challenge and review. We have tablets on the sideline that we're allowed. So there's been some NCAA changes that have allowed us to to do that. So I thought it was a bang-bang play. The result was not in our favor. More than anything, we were kind of in that spot where momentum was in their favor, and that was a huge play. So even if it wasn't, I'd probably taken a timeout anyway, so we were going to take a chance on a 50-50 call, and it did stand. They didn't confirm it, so it was a close call, and they kept the call on the field.
And what did you take away from this opening game?
That we're not where we need to be. Again, in the grand scheme of things, you go out there to win every single game, but it's an FCS opponent. Has nothing to do with playoff indications, has nothing to do with the SAC Conference Championship, has nothing to do with Division II National Championship. What that game showed us is it showed us ourselves, and we're not where we need to be. We thought we were close to where we needed to be, and that just forced us this week to have even a more locked in, tougher practices, more mentally locked in, better coaching, and just ready for the next one.
All right, Coach, thanks for joining us. We'll get you back up here later to talk about the upcoming opponent this week. Right now we're going to talk to a couple of your players, but while we have this transition, let's ask some trivia. So it's time to get your whiteboard out and put your answer down if you know the answer. Catawba taking on Shaw this week. There's only been one previous meeting between these two teams. That happened in September of 2010. Catawba happened to win that game 32-21. What we want to know is who was the Catawba quarterback in that game. He passed for 296 yards and 2 touchdowns in that 32-21 win back in 2010. So get your answer, get it to Zach, and try to win that prize pack. So right now, we're going to be joined by Catawba offensive lineman Dallas Ford. And Dallas Ford is a grad student transferring into Catawba this year from right down the road in Concord, North Carolina. Played his high school football at Central Cabarrus High School. And Dallas, welcome to the show. I just want to ask you, what made you pick South Carolina State when you went to college for your undergraduate work? What made you pick South Carolina State, and then what made you transfer here to Catawba for this season?
I'm a big family guy, so when Coach Goddard and Coach Pugh came to my house, they came and talked to us, and I really love them as the coaches. So for same thing when I came to Catawba. I love it's close to home, and yeah. Now,
when you were at Central Cabarrus, who was your high school coach, or did you have a couple high school coaches during your career there?
Coach McClamrock, and before that was Coach Kiefer.
Okay, so I know Coach McClamrock, so I got to ask you about him. He's a pretty intense guy, but was he more intense and focused, or was he a more fun coach to play for?
Oh, intense, for sure. He was very intense, and that's why I love him. And he pushed me to be a better football player and a better person.
And you're an offensive lineman. You don't get a lot of glory out there on the football field. You see a player can celebrate a big run or catching a touchdown pass, but you as an offensive lineman, what do you guys do to celebrate and define your success on the field?
Run down there and celebrate with our team that just scored, our teammate that just scored.
So they grade the offensive lineman, and you get a grade every week. Mm-hmm. What are the things that you're graded on during the game?
Technique, physicality, and knowing your assignment.
And when the scores come out, is it like the percentage score in school, or what is an outstanding grade for an offensive lineman?
Yeah, it's like a percentage score. An outstanding grade. Can you explain that?
What would, if you're hoping to get, what rating are you hoping to get? A certain number or above every week?
Anything above a 90.
Okay. And what is your field of study for your graduate work here at Catawba?
MBA, general MBA.
And what do you hope to do in the future?
Open a laundromat and start my own business.
Okay. Well, we wish you the best of luck on that, and hope the season goes well for you. So Dallas Ford, graduate student from Central Cabarrus in Concord. So now let's switch to the other end of the spectrum. We have a grad student, and now we're going to bring in a freshman. Just came into Catawba this season. A lot of you folks are familiar with this young man. His name is Mike Jeter from right here in Salisbury, North Carolina. Played at Salisbury High School. Just a freshman this year at Catawba. But Mike had an outstanding career for Salisbury. He passed for over 4,400 yards in his high school career. He had 50 or more touchdowns, both rushing and passing in his career. Mike, you played on one state championship team there at Catawba. With all that talent you guys had and all the success you had, you're probably a little bit disappointed that you didn't win more than one, aren't you?
Yeah, I wish I got one my sophomore and junior year, but it is what it is. You know, move on with life.
You guys played very well, just some tough losses at some tough locations there in the playoffs, but really enjoyed watching you guys compete and play out there on the field. Now, you had committed, before your senior year of high school, you had committed to Army at West Point.
Yes, sir.
To play football. What was your thinking about? Why did you want to go there? And then what led you to decommit from there and come to Catawba?
Well, I wanted to go there, because, it's better, like, school-wise, because, like, as far as from my home, and basically I decommitted because I love the city. I enjoy being in Salisbury, and I didn't really leave my family because I know I can't really do much without them. They my, every day, I look up to them, call them, check on them.
Mm-hmm. Now, you played for some pretty good coaches in high school. You played for former Catawba player coach Brian Hinson, and then he was followed by another Catawba lineman, Clayton Trivet. So what were those guys like to play for?
They're pretty chill, cool, relaxed dudes. I really enjoyed it because, we would always have conversations after every practice game about just how I'm doing, how, like, life's going, how I'm doing at home, just, like, to check up on me and anything.
Now, you also played other sports at Salisbury High. You played basketball. You competed in track. We know that speed came in handy in track. But you also tried your hand at baseball. So I know you played the secondary in high school, and so that translated into probably some good outfield play.
Yeah.
You zipped some passes back there at quarterback, so that probably helped you. I believe you pitched a few innings, didn't you, as well? And then base running, I'm sure that wasn't a problem, but what was it like being a hitter there in high school, not playing a lot of baseball probably? What was it like facing some of those tough pitchers you faced?
It wasn't really hard. I really just normal athlete, just being an athlete, just practicing while I have time to practice and just going out there and hitting the ball.
Okay, now, as we mentioned, you're a freshman here at Catawba, but you were thrown into the fire early last week, and you responded well. 4 catches for 23 yards in that game. You probably saw a little more action following the Bo Pryor injury. Last week, Coach Haynes mentioned that you're going to be the next iteration of Bo Pryor. But I'm sure he's talked to you this week. He doesn't need you to be Bo Pryor right now. He just needs you to be Mike Jeter with all that talent you have. I'm sure he's let you know that.
Yeah, he let me know that earlier this week. Just play my game, Yeah, play my game.
And was that a big factor in you coming to Catawba, that you'd have the opportunity to play early?
Yeah, that was my plan, to come to Catawba, play early, and then really show like I really deserve to be playing on the field at the moment.
And when you came in, did you expect in college to come in and play a certain position, or were you open to whatever position they wanted you to play?
I was open. I really didn't care if I played offense and defense. Just wanted to be on the field.
And which do you like more? Did you have a preference in high school? Do you enjoy one more than the other?
I'll say offense. Offense is a little bit better,
They get all the glory, don't they?
Yeah.
Okay, and what are you majoring in at Catawba? Do you have picked
sports
a major
management.
Yet? Okay, and what do you hope to do in the future?
Maybe become a coach or a sports analyst.
Okay, well, best of luck to you. And
thank you.
Best of luck throughout the season.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us here on the Coaches Show. Freshman Mike Jeter from Salisbury High School. So now we're going to switch over, and we're going to talk about a sport that the rest of the world knows as football. We know it here in the United States and on the Catawba campus as soccer. So we're going to be joined by men's soccer coach Ken Hassler. Coach Hassler is in his 12th season now at Catawba, and he's been pretty successful, 28 wins in the last 3 seasons. You graduated from Plymouth State and coached there. You also coached at Alfred, Montevallo, and Pfeiffer. But what brought you to Catawba College?
Well, I think it's the beauty of the campus. It's the success in the athletics. And it's the opportunity to continue to grow and discover really how good we can be.
Well, Coach Hassler, your team has a lot of diversity. I looked down the roster. I see players from 15 different countries outside the United States. So just a few questions for you. A, how do you find all these guys? B, how do you get them to come to Catawba College? And then C, how big is that recruiting budget you have?
Well, the recruiting budget's still up in the air. No, we've been really fortunate. The success of the program over the years and our ability to be effective as teachers is what attracts players. It's the players that come from right now 15 different countries have come because they all have the same goals. They want to be great students, and it's hard to combine athletics with their passion in any other country. Here in the U.S., it's a little bit different. But it's that desire to be great students and to be elite athletes. We have a roster filled with players that have come from some of the top clubs all around the world. We've got high school All-Americans from here in the U.S. We've got Division I transfers. And the piece that unites them is that desire to be great.
Now, you've enjoyed some success in the South Atlantic Conference, but it's a pretty challenging conference. There are some outstanding programs. How challenging is it to play in the South Atlantic Conference?
The South Atlantic Conference, from a soccer standpoint, has been ranked as the second toughest soccer conference in the NCAA. So it's every time we step on the field, we know we've got a battle, and it's top to bottom, exceptionally challenging. Our top teams are elite, competing at the national level, but even the teams that are at the lower half within conference are good enough to beat you on any given day.
Now, you started out the season with 2 draws at home against Montevallo and USC Aiken. You had a big win on the road last night over Mount Olive, coming from behind for a 2-1 win. Your team put 18 shots, 10 of those on goal. So a pretty good performance by your team on the road.
Yeah, it was an exceptional performance. We started a little bit slow. I think the 3-hour ride may have affected us a little bit, but we did a fantastic job of competing. We challenged the guys to be aggressive and truly play on the front foot and make sure that we dictated how and where the game was going to be played, and we found a lot of success because of it.
And who are the leaders on your team this season?
We're really fortunate. We've got a great group of upper-class students that are leading us. We've also been fortunate in that we have, I think, 6 guys who were selected as preseason all-conference players, but the student athlete that will come up and speak in just a moment, close to me, he's my son. He's been an exceptional player and one of our true leaders on and off the field. We've got a Division I transfer who came in and joined us from Duquesne, who's Rodrigo Abayeras, has been an outstanding leader and role model for us. So we're really fortunate to have some older students who understand what it takes to be successful student athletes.
And what is that like to be able to coach your son?
It's a pleasure. We've done it long enough where we understand the relationship. There are moments when I have to be coach, and he respects that and responds to it extremely well, but it's also a treat for me. I was there as he scored his first collegiate goal, and we had a chance to celebrate it together. So it's been a real highlight.
All right, Coach, thanks for joining us. Coach Ken Hassler, and best of luck to you. Your team's at home on Saturday. A game coming up on Saturday at home against Carson Newman at 7:30.
Perfect. Thank you.
So we're going to bring up his son, Kenny Hassler, a midfielder on the team who's finishing up his MBA here at Catawba. And Kenny, I guess the first question I'm going to ask you is, what's it like playing for your dad? Is there a little extra pressure on you as well?
Pressure in a good way. It's pressure and a privilege to play for Catawba. But no, honestly, no. I think he's done a really good job with it. My teammates have. Within the program and at Catawba, I'm just another player. He treats me that way. My teammates treat me that way. And we're just all competing together, with him and for the school.
Now, you play midfield. You've put a few balls in the net. What's it like when you do get that chance to put it in the net and score? It doesn't happen often in a game, so you see those big celebrations. What's that feel like when you get that big goal?
It's massive joy. First thing you do, honestly, when I score is you look for your teammates. Look for the guys who, help you create that opportunity, who got the ball into the space where you could go in and score. It is truly, a team effort in soccer. They're very rarely, individual goals. So the first thing I do, I look for my teammates. I look for coach. I look for the rest of us so we can celebrate together. It is a team game.
And your team's been very successful over the last 3 seasons. What do you attribute that success?
I think it's been a couple of factors. Again, guys have kind of matured. He's talked about the leadership on the team. We've had a really good core over these past couple of years. That's coming together. I think support from the department as a whole. I think you've seen an evolution in Catawba athletics, and we've been part of that. And so you've seen that impact on the field. Within the squad, our depth has gone up dramatically, which allows us to play that long conference schedule inside the SAC. And so we're finally ready to make that breakthrough. Past 3 years, been nationally ranked, made it to the conference semifinals, but this has got to be the year where we get some silverware.
All right, Kenny, so best of luck to you. Wish you continued success and good luck in your career.
Thank you.
Kenny Hassler, midfielder for the Catawba men's soccer team. Now we're going to switch over. We're going to bring up Dr. Jim Hand. And Dr. Hand is the Dean of Health Sciences and Human Performance at Catawba. That's interesting. They're in the Department of Sport and Health Sciences. And Coach Hand, how long have you been at Catawba?
This is my 14th year, believe it or not. So came down from Winston-Salem State, athletic trainer education, and then became the department chair after Dr. Bill Russell. And then I've been the inaugural dean for the School of Health Science and Human Performance for the last 6 years.
Okay, now what programs are included in health sciences and human performance?
In our undergraduate programs, we have exercise science, sports medicine, exercise science, human performance, sport management, nursing, and recreational therapy. Our graduate programs, we have 3. We have clinical mental health counseling, we have sport management, and we have exercise and nutrition sciences. We also got 3 minors for those of that can't make up their mind and want to do something different in counseling, nutrition, and athletic coaching.
Well, that's a lot of things going on, but there's some new things going on in your department as well. What are some of those?
Well, again, we just launched our 3rd graduate program in 4 years, and they've been pretty successful, so we're pretty excited about that. We've also received some pretty substantial gifts ourselves and enabled us to buy some equipment like an anatomy table that has cadavers in it that our students can practice and dissect things with. We also have a VO2 max machines that athletes can go through, and it tells about their fitness and their what we need to do to make them better on the field. So
Okay.
pretty exciting.
And what are some of the things coming on the horizon as well?
Masters of Nutrition in either 2025 or 2026, which will lead to an RD program. We've also done a lot of stuff with the Center for Environment and Sustainability in sports and health and in different areas. So we have a full plate of things that we need to get accomplished, and we're just excited to be able to do that.
Okay, and in what ways does your school work closely with athletics?
We work real close with athletics. We have 8 faculty members that actually played collegiate sports. So I think that's pretty telling and fascinating. Some of the big things that we do is a couple things that we just started just this year is a nutrition bar where students can come up and get shakes and protein shakes and ran by our nutrition students and work studies, and that's been real beneficial, I think, to the student athletes. We also have graduate students with each team or most of the teams working with strength and conditioning, trying to make sure that they're ready to play on the field on Saturday and during the week.
Okay, so you help out in plenty of ways. I'm sure they appreciate that. Also, your daughter, Amber, was a women's soccer player at Catawba. What was that like for you
That's
as a
right.
faculty member to watch your daughter play collegiate soccer?
It was like one of the most special things that's ever happened to us. And I was just telling somebody earlier tonight, like I didn't see her that much when she was on campus. She did the student athlete thing and did that. But man, was it nice to walk out of my office and go watch her play in the games. And that was her and some of my wife and I's best times that we've had together. So that was a special treat.
And Dr. Hand, what's the best thing for you about working at Catawba College?
We definitely, probably have to mention the gifts. That's been pretty freeing. That we get to dream big and we get to do some things in our area that's some cutting edge stuff that's super exciting going forward. So that's been a real plus. The faculty that we've been able to hire, attract, and keep are state of the, are innovative and some of the best faculty that we could ask for, hardworking and doing research in some really cool areas like NHRA, the Air Force, with medical centers and whatnot. But the students, I say is probably our highlight. A lot of people give the students a bad rap coming out of COVID, but the students that we have actually have been pretty innovative, inquisitive, smart, and resilient. And I think that resiliency and flexibility has translated to jobs. Our recent graduates have some pretty cool jobs, including pretty special to see at the Daytona 500, one of our graduates in Winter Circle holding the one up. And within 30 minutes, texted a picture of us and said, "Thanks, Doc." So that's pretty strong right there. That that they think of you when when they're having success. So that's pretty special.
Yeah, that's great. So a lot of great things going on there in health sciences and human performance. So keep up the good work and keep having fun. I can tell you're having fun doing all this
Yes,
stuff.
sir. Thank you. Appreciate you.
Appreciate you joining us here on the show. Now it's time once again to get Coach Tyler Haynes back up here, and let's talk about the upcoming game this week. Traveling up to Durham County Stadium to take on the Shaw Bears. Shaw Bears have opened their season with a pair of wins. They beat Elizabeth City State 17-13 in a game they led 17-0 and ran the ball pretty well. And then last week they had a big come-from-behind win over Albany State on the road in Georgia, 43-40. And their quarterback was named the HBCU Player of the Week, 397 total yards, 322 passing, and 5 touchdowns, 75 rushing and 1 touchdown. So it doesn't seem like your task is going to get any easier this week, Coach.
No, that's right. You nailed it on the head there. Shaw's a very good football team, starting off 2-0. We get them at home at 6 p.m. for a 6 p.m. kick. Their whole team is predicated on their quarterback. He's very athletic. He escapes the pocket. He extends plays. I would say he's kind of like a Patrick Mahomes college version, except he is very fast. So he obviously can run the ball as well. We got our hands full. But more than anything about Shaw, this week is about us, our preparation, and us taking that step from week 1 to week 2. How much can we improve as a football team?
Now, a lot of people looking at this are thinking when they see that performance, they think, well, Shaw's going to come up and air it out. But they ran the ball well in their first game. Probably a lot of those passing numbers were because they were behind and had to come back. So you expecting a balanced attack from this team this week?
Yeah, I think they'll see how the flow goes. I think just how any team does is, I mean, if you jump up on an early lead, they'll slow it down. If they're trailing, they'll try to air it out and play fast. So I think it just depends on really what we do and how we play. I expect us to come out fast, play physical, smart, aggressive, do your job football, and represent Catawba well.
Now, how does the Bo Pryor injury impact your game plan this week?
It doesn't. It impacted us on game day. I'd be lying if I said anything other than that. On the game day itself against Davidson, it impacted us drastically. But we've had a whole week to prepare. It's the next guy up. Bo's been at every single practice coaching these guys up. He's like an assistant coach right now, doing a great job. So he's the best player in the conference. So, yeah, it affects us. But the show goes on, and we're looking forward to this week.
Now, we mentioned you were very competitive last week against Davidson outside of a couple plays. The running attack was going well. Preston Brown was very efficient at quarterback. They took away the deep throws, but what do you expect out of your offense this week? I
expect us to be efficient, explosive, and do our job. You take away 2 penalties and a couple missed assignments, and that's a different game. So you have got to control the controllables. You've got to take care of your job. We don't need a holding call at a bad time on a silly technique. We don't need a face mask call as we're getting ready to score another touchdown. You can't do that and be successful. So I expect us to clean it up and continue to do what we do. We didn't do a bunch of schematic changes in our offense or anything like that. That's not why we didn't put up a lot of points. We didn't put up a lot of points because we didn't execute our jobs.
Speaking of cleaning things up, was an emphasis on pass protection and getting Preston Brown a little more protection this week?
Yeah. It's always that. I mean, we try to improve all areas. Nothing is good enough when you get beat like we did. Nothing's good enough even when you win it. Conversely, I'm sure Davidson's working on what they need to work on. Shaw's working on what they need to work on. So we are trying to get better at every aspect of our program, starting with. It always starts up front offensively to continue to establish the run game. And, yeah, we've got to protect Preston and make sure he's comfortable back there to find open receivers.
And then defensively, I was talking to Coach Hubbard earlier. It's great to have a player at your star position like Evan Simons, like a hybrid safety and linebacker. So you don't have to adjust many defensive packages based on passing or running because he can play the run and the pass effectively well.
Yeah, I think this matchup's a little bit better for Evan because they're a little bit more spread wide open, so it allows him to be athletic, to maybe blitz off the edge, to play coverage. The other game was kind of like, a mosh pit every play, so that's not really what he's best at. I expect Evan to have a big game come Saturday.
Now, is there anything in particular that you're concerned about from Shaw's offense or their defense?
I'm concerned. Concern's not the right term. We know what they are. We know what they're good at, and they're good at their quarterback runs the show. He threw 5 touchdowns. He is a scrambler. We have got to keep him in the pocket the best we can, and when we do that, we've got to get home. We've got to sack him. We've got to hit him. They're very explosive on the outside. Our DBs have got to break up passes, got to play great coverage, and play coverage for a long time, especially if this quarterback wants to get really creative. So I expect us to get after the quarterback, but we better keep him contained and keep him down.
And how was morale practice? Everybody ready to go this week?
Yeah.
put that game behind you and be ready to go this week?
It was locked in. That's the way I'd say it. You know, no one was happy with how that went. Everyone, there was no surprises. There was nothing I was going to say to the team that was like, wow, we got our tails whooped. So when I get up there and say, hey, we got our tails whooped, let's fix it, they're listening.
All right, Coach, we got to close out another quick edition of this week's Coaches Show and close it out like you always do.
You got it. Well, appreciate everybody being here. Thank you for everybody listening. We got a Cat U on 3. 1, 2, 3. Thanks, guys.
Thanks for joining us, everyone. See you again next Thursday right here at City Tavern. Forgot that again.